This is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast, where business leaders share their insights. It is 6 questions in 7 minutes because successful business leaders are busy and rarely have more time to spare. So let's get to it. Question number one, in a few sentences, please tell me who you are and what you do.
Hey, Professor Pete, thank you for having me. I am a valuation expert. I have been fortunate or unfortunate to value some of the most unique assets in the world, including some of the very household companies that we know today and some of the biggest investments the American taxpayers have ever made.
Well, Bharat, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. And some of those things, if people are curious, do you want to describe a couple of those assets and companies?
I was trying not to name drop, but make me do it, aren't you? You're gonna make me do it. All right, here we go. Some of the unique assets I have done include the Brooklyn Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, Atlanta Airport, Mall of America, Minneapolis, Alaskan Pipeline, Uber, Twitter, Airbnb, Yahoo. You know, eh,
I think I've heard of a couple of those.
yes.
Well, thank you for sharing those and giving us that name drop. I think that's a good name drop. So, question number two: what is something that makes you smile and or laugh about working in your industry?
you know, uh, I am not the guy you would go to if you want to value like a multi-unit apartment complex. I mean, I can do it, but it's not going to tickle me.
Mhm.
I'm the guy you come to when you cannot find anybody who would touch that asset with a 10-foot pole. So, for
Mhm.
example, I recently worked with a family that own three dams. And I was speaking to the lady, and she was most genuine, and she said, Bharat, I am so glad I met you. All the appraisers I was working with before, they only knew how to value the real estate on which the dam was sitting, not the dam itself. And I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, well, that's the problem. Most people in my business, they silo themselves and then they think within that box.
Mhm.
I never had a box. The last 20 years, I've been, as I said, fortunate or unfortunate to appraise some of the weirdest assets. So I'm not afraid to roll up my sleeves and do something different.
That's great. And it's a great example that you shared. Thank you. Question number three. I have a fictitious book with all the answers for business. What chapter would you think most companies should share, would read or recommend?
Teamwork.
Mm-hmm. One.
Teamwork. A company or a corporation is not the land and the building and the mortar. It's not. It's a group of people working together, forming a culture.
Mm-hmm.
And just like any family, yeah, they can be ifs and buts and there can be disagreements. But at the end of the day, everybody has to know and believe that we're all in this together. And
Mm-hmm.
only then it's a real company. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
just, bunch of guys.
Yeah, and I like what you're saying that working together. There needs to be obviously trust in that, and if you have that trust, I'm assuming it's just going to go even stronger as a company. Would you agree?
Most definitely. You have to believe that the person who I may have a disagreement with, he or she still has their heart in the right place.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great insight. Question number four. Other than the generic work harder, have a great attitude, and care for customers, what advice would you give to other business leaders?
Consistency. Whatever you do, um, business leaders, basically, they're leading people. Um, and they are patriarchs or matriarchs of a family, of a business family. And you're going to make mistakes. And it's okay. I make
Mhm.
mistakes. But if you show up to work every day and you do same things every day and you do them consistently, you will improve and you will recognize your mistake and you will improve them. So
Mhm,
now I understand when Woody Allen said 80% of life is showing up. I know exactly what he meant. It's
mhm,
basically he meant consistency.
mhm.
No matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up.
Hmm. It's so, so important. I like to also phrase that as reliability too. You show up, you're consistent, and people understand that you're reliable too because you've got that track record. Am I right?
Absolutely. I mean, nobody
Hmm.
wants to work with a guy who's going to be like, I don't know if he's going to show up or not.
Uh-huh.
That's not cool. I mean, I don't know why they show a unreliable person to be cool in the movies. I think it's most uncool.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree because when you're unreliable, you create stress and to the people that you work with, and it's just not, in many cases, it's just not worth it to deal with somebody like that consistently is inconsistent or unreliable. So, question number 5: what other business leader like yourself would you like to acknowledge and invite to be on my podcast?
You know, you should meet Tom Bronson. He is connected with me on LinkedIn. He's a good guy. He's out of Dallas, Texas. He says it like it is. And I think your energy will match his. I think you should have a good time.
Perfect. I appreciate that referral. I'll reach out to him. And our final question number 6: please tell me about your first job.
My first job was as an appraiser. Well, no, well, first job in was college, but that wasn't a job. My first job as a professional was an appraiser. I've been in this business 20 years, so I have seen all different kinds of things. I was good at it, and I built a network around it, and that's why I can almost appraise anything now.
Mm. So, is there anything that you specifically had a funny story about from that first job as an appraiser, or anything interesting you want to share?
Um, sure. Uh, my boss comes over one day and says, Bharat, we have a contract to appraise the Golden Gate Bridge.
Mhm.
And I go, okay, great. Who's doing it? He's like, you're doing it. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, and I'm like, I have never appraised a bridge in my life. And you want me to start with the Golden Gate Bridge? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, just check it. And oh, by the way, I'm also going to give you 3 guys to train. I'm like, wait, what? I don't know how to do it myself. You want me to train them? He's like, yeah. I'm like, how? He's like, figure it out. And he walked away. So guess what I did? I figured it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, and that's a great story because a lot of us can relate to that. It's just kind of like, if you don't have the mentor to show us how to do it, you figure it out. That's how we learn and succeed. So great story. Thank you for sharing. And Bharat, thank you so much for being on the show. How can people find you?
You could find me via my YouTube channel, What's It Worth. My email is there. And if you have any questions, reach out. Happy to help. I always enjoy educating people about valuations.
Perfect. This is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast. Thanks for listening.